like to call the June 13th Shelby County Board meeting to order. We'll start out with the Pledge of Allegiance followed by the prayer. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jesus, for this day, and thank you for the weather that you've given us. Pray for those that are out maybe caught in the storm. We just pray that you keep us all safe tonight. Be with everybody that's in this room and everybody that's in this county, and help those on this board to make the best decisions we possibly can to help the county move forward. Thank you for all your blessings that you give us each day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Roll call, please.
Clark Hanley.
Present.
Mark Bennett. Teresa Bain. Here. Tim Brown.
Here.
Carol Cole. Here. Julie Edwards. Martha Bernhaber. Here. Clay Hardy.
Here.
Doug Keenan.
Here.
Annette Martin. Sean Marks. Tad Mayhall. Here. Keith McCormick.
Here.
Tim Morse.
Here.
Lori Nelson. Bobby Norman.
Here.
Cindy Ross.
Here.
Mitchell Sheff.
Here.
Don Tate.
Here.
Brett Wallace.
Here.
Jeremy Williams.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Item 4 on the agenda is the county highway engineer with the highway report. So with that, I'll turn the floor over to Paul.
Oh, you know what?
I'm sorry. Let's go back to item 3. So is there a motion to approve the minutes of the May 9th meeting? Keith makes the motion, Pat seconds the motion. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries for the approval of minutes. Now we can move on to the highway engineer.
Thank you. So as far as the report, I have the items of the agenda before. I'll go through my report, which is, as usual, just starting with things we've done over the course of the last month and completed, me and my team. So the maintenance side of things, construction season has begun. We've been busy, and the guys are out doing a lot of different things, such as reconstruction on the Sigel Road. We had some logging trucks tear up some, or just heavy traffic just tear up some of that road, and we did reconstruct a little portion of that. Ditching along Greasy Road, County Highway 40 on the south side of the county. We've done a lot of filling of potholes. My guys have been hauling a lot of rock in preparation for oil and chipping, which they have done approximately 6 miles of that here lately. They've oiled County Highway 26 and County Highway 10, which is by Windsor and on the south side of the county. So we've also done clearing on right-of-way east of Finley, just clearing on the east side of the Finley Bridge to just get vegetation back. And just other general maintenance in the back. So my front office team, just normal day-to-day operations. We've done coordination on guardrail reconstruction throughout the county. There's a lot of guardrail that was in a state of disrepair, and we've repaired a lot of that, and it's looking a lot better. There's 2 bridges on the very south part of the county that are getting reconstructed. One of my inspectors has been very busy with inspecting that bridge for reconstruction. It is commencing, and the existing bridge has been demolished. Abutments are being poured and looking for bridge beams to be set in the near future, which will basically about a month before it will be up and going again. There's a bridge on the southeast part of the county in Prairie Township. It is a bridge, more like an oversized culvert actually, and it is being reconstructed as well. We've done coordination with ICC on the railroad crossings again. That's one I've been talking about for a while, but we're continuing that process. There's 6 of them. between Findlay and the west part of the county that we've been working on, trying to get those crossings moving. Just different organization. I myself was with another consultant. We did the Findlay Bridge inspection. We took 2 days and we looked at the bridge on the top and the bottom very thoroughly, and we noticed some maintenance stuff, but altogether the bridge is in excellent shape and doing very well. Continuing planning on multiple drainage issues around the county, and we've done more 50/50 estimates, which are part of the agenda tonight. As far as some update on some projects, County Highway 5, which is north between Shelbyville and Findlay, there's a stretch of oil and chip. It's possibly bidding tomorrow, and it is going to possibly be reconstructed this summer, later this summer. So we'll be seeing asphalt between Shelbyville and Findlay, possibly later on this summer. We discussed the railroad crossings. There's about 10 of those altogether that we are working with. County Highway 3, the design is very close to final. We're still waiting on IDOT for programming. They're showing some good promise for when we're going to figure out the programming. We were waiting on the state bill to be signed through the Senate, and that finally got signed. So now we're still waiting on IDOT to tell us when we can actually move forward.
County Highway 3, that's Findlay
East of
East.
Findlay, sorry. Yeah. East of Findlay. Guardrail was reconstructed throughout the county, and it came in very close to cost estimates, and I feel like it was done well and very fast, very quickly done. So that's most of the updates of where we stand. If there's any questions on that. Yes.
The County Highway 5 road between Shelbyville and Findlay,
Yes.
is that the next part of what they were doing up to Possum Creek now? Are they going further than Possum Creek North?
Correct.
Is that what that is?
There was a flat grant that was applied for years and years ago.
Yes.
And that is finally coming to fruition. Yes, and that is, we are overlaying that with 2 lifts of asphalt. And so it is going to be looking like what is south of it. So it's going to be a continuation. So we will have continuous asphalt all the way to Coon Creek Road.
Is that the final phase of that project then?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes.
Is there any chance of any tourism money on that County Highway 3, since there's a lot of
The
camper
flat
traffic?
grant theoretically is kind of like tourism money. It's access program money for accessing federal grounds. So it's as close as the federal government will get to basically tourism money. So, but I don't know of any other grants that are specifically for that. So, any other? So, with that, I'll move on to the agenda items. So we have a supplemental resolution for amendment of Resolution 2020-49 and supplemental Resolution 2320, improvement under Illinois Highway Code to amend and approve funds for an additional $41,000 for the construction and engineering costs associated with the construction of Bridge 087-3000 on County Highway 21 over a tributary to Flat Branch Creek. Rebuild Illinois funds for the project. Total cost currently at $650,872.05. This is a bridge east of Muiqua on County Highway 21 that was reconstructed this summer, and this is a formality to allocate the funds through IDOT for Rebuild Illinois funds to just pay the contractor for their work.
Is there a motion? Tim Brown makes the motion, Brent seconds the motion. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call please.
Clark Hanley,
Yes.
Teresa Bennett,
Yes.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Carol Cole,
Yes.
Martha Burhaver,
Yes.
Clay Hardy,
Yes.
Doug Keenan,
Yes.
Ted Nahal,
Yes.
Keith McCormick,
Yes.
Tim Morse,
Yes.
Bobby Mormon,
Yes.
Cindy Ross,
Yes.
Mitchell Shutt,
Yes.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Brett Wallace,
Yes.
Jeremy Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. There's a 50/50 petition from Richland Township Highway Commissioner to demolish and construct a new bridge, structure number 087-3148 over TR 199, which is County Road 1200 North. This is 9.5 miles southwest of Windsor. The petition is for Phase 1 and 2 engineering only. Estimated cost of preliminary engineering will be $38,395, 80% of which will come from the state through the Township Bridge Program. 10% each will be split between the county and the township for $3,840.
Jeremy makes a motion to approve, Mark seconds the motion, any discussion? I got one quick question. Since 9.5 miles southwest of Windsor, so that'd be straight west of Strawberry, wouldn't
Yeah, it's due
it?
to
Take north.
northwest of us. It's kind of somewhat between Middlesworth and Windsor, but still a little bit to the south of where Middlesworth would be. 16.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The money that it costs for the engineering, is this standard then that we pay somebody to engineer those kind of projects?
Since I'm not a structural engineer, yes, we have to hire that out. I am an engineer, but I'm not a structural engineer. So yes, we have to hire that portion out of this for these plans.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call please.
Clark Hamlin,
Yes.
Teresa Bank,
Yes.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Carol Cole,
Yes.
Mark Branham,
Yes.
Clay Hardy,
Yes.
Doug Keenan,
Yes.
Chad Mayhall,
Yes.
Keith McCormick,
Yes.
Tim Morse,
Yes.
Bob Norman,
Yes.
Sonny Ross,
Yes.
Richard Shutt,
Yes.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Brett Wallace,
Yes.
Jeremy Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Item C.
Resolution to approve engineering agreement with Civil Designing to assist in the structural design, hydraulic study, and all other necessary items for reconstruction of structure 087-3148 over Richland Creek. Funding the same as above.
Tim makes a motion to approve, is there a second?
Yes.
Jeremy seconds. Is there any discussion or questions on this resolution?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Here, it's the exact same money as the one above it?
These go hand in hand. So the first one was actually, the first one is actually allocating that the county board would approve that we do demolish the existing structure and reconstruct it. The second item that we're now discussing is for the engineering agreement for them to actually design it.
So it's actually twice as much.
So I have to make sure that you guys agree to reconstruct the bridge, that you would agree, which was the first resolution, and then this one's the engineering agreement.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Branham,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes.
Keenan,
Yes.
Mayhall,
Yes.
McCormick,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Orman,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Shutt,
Yeah.
Tate,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Item D.
50/50 petition from Cold Spring Highway Commissioner to construct drainage improvements on County Road 850 North in Section 8, just west of County Highway 15. Estimated cost is $10,425 to be shared equally by the county and the township.
Tim Brown makes a motion to approve the petition, is there a second? Don Tate seconds the motion, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Branham,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes.
Keenan,
Yes.
Mayhall,
Yes.
McCormick,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Orman,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Shutt,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item E.
Lastly, 50/50 petition from Ash Grove Highway Commissioner to construct drainage improvements, County Road 1350 North in Section 11, just west of 3475 East. Estimated cost is $7,600 to be shared equally by the county and township.
Tim Brown makes the motion. Is there a second? Second by Heath. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Hamley?
Yes.
Bang?
Yeah.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Hardinger?
Yes.
Hardy?
Yes.
Keenan?
Yes.
Mayhall?
Yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Orman?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Shuck?
Yes.
Tate?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
Okay. That wraps up the petitions. Is there any other business which you'd like to?
I don't have unless anybody else has any questions. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Item 5 is with the Scott, I do believe he is out this evening.
He was there.
So there's a letter here. It says, sorry I can't attend today. Please remember the zoning board of appeals makes recommendations to the county board. The board has the final say in management anything the ZBA brings forward, and of course can take it back to the ZBA for review. So that was his quick note to the board prior to starting. So item 5 is discussion and vote to approve of Part A is an amendment requiring utility companies to sign a road use agreement for the installation of overhead transmission lines, which you guys have copies of the resolution.
I got it. In my news, and I got it.
Is there a motion to approve of the amendment requiring utility companies to have a road use agreement? Martha makes a motion to approve the amendment. He seconds it. Any discussion?
I have questions.
Go ahead.
Can you answer them?
Aye.
Well, in reading this, I want to know what the purpose of this resolution is and why he's writing it, because it's my understanding that, happened to have left, that there's all kinds of permits that go into him for the county, the township, and I know the state gets permits requesting this kind of information, so I don't understand what the purpose of this is. I have a suggestion that we table it until he can be here to explain, because I think Carol's got questions too.
So we want to table A and B.
Yeah.
Motion to table A and B. Second. Karen? All in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
1 nay. Motion carries to table. Item 6. Discussion and vote to approve State's Attorney's budget amendment request for additional $21,400 for Second State's Attorney line items 001-007-5010. For a motion to approve. Carol makes a motion to approve. Heath, 1 second. He seconds the motion. Any discussion on this budget amendment? Go ahead, Martha.
I guess I just would like some additional information as to the need, because budgets aren't restricted to having to be per line item. It's an overall budget, so you can overspend in one line item and underspend in another, so long as you're maintaining the budgeted amount. So what's the need to approve funds for a specific line item?
May I address it?
Sure.
So the issue is that I need to be able to hire an assistant, and I do not have it in the budget based simply on the fact that, well, there are a lot of factors that go into it, but as far as moving from other line items, the issue is that we have a grant for our victim witness coordinator that lapsed. So that's almost $20-some thousand that I do not have available to me to pay my victim witness coordinator. So that is all coming from the deputy clerk line. And basically that means that the deputy clerk line will be empty by the time the budget year rolls around.
And the reason that grant lapsed.
Prior administration did not fill out the proper paperwork.
Any other discussion, questions?
I have a comment. In doing what you're asking, will that get you to where you need to be to hire somebody for the
Yes.
remainder of this budget year?
Yes, the issue is that I cannot even make an offer to hire an assistant state's attorney at this time that is competitive with within our circuit and with our neighboring counties, based on the budget constraints that I have.
If you don't mind me asking, what rate of pay were you looking to approach that?
120, which is what the first assistant was previously paid.
Any questions?
And I will add, just for another point of reference, and I did send notes to the entire board. Shelby County has to be competitive because Effingham is the only one in our circuit that has a full state's attorney's office at this time. Coles Christian County has attempted to hire assistants at 130 and they have been turned down. So that is where we need to come in competitively.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. In times past, even as recently as the last meeting, we require, if you will, acknowledgement of an emergency to amend the budget. Have we identified an emergency to make this budget amendment?
So in that statute, there is two things to look at. One is personnel, and the other is emergency.
So this would fall into the personnel category as being a need.
I'm trying to find it.
Even if it did not fall into that category, I would argue that this is an emergency based on the fact that I had presented an offer previously based on what was left in the budget as of April 30th, which was right before I took office. And I could not uphold that offer after I got into the office and realized that I was short $74,000.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so then further down that rabbit hole, if you will, I know there were two assistants in that office before. There's no argument that the line item for the one is gone. We understand that, whether we like it or not. I'm just curious then, will there be room, this amount of money? I guess my question is, this amount of money seems insignificant if there's not room now to hire one ASA. So do we have one ASA and this is going to be for a second ASA, or is this just going to only provide one ASA and not two, which has been the case prior?
So this is for me to hire a single ASA through the end of the budgetary year. Going forward, I anticipate only hiring one assistant state's attorney. I do not believe that our office needs two.
Any questions?
If I could make sure I understand, so minus 74,
Correct.
minus 20. Because of the grant lapsed.
Correct.
So down 94, and you're asking 21?
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Mayhall's point, that was part of my question. was given the set of facts that we have in front of us, 21 seems a soft ask. That's why I'm asking the chair if that's going to get the job done, or if this is I'm to direct questions to the chair.
Yeah.
I'm directing the question to the chair. If he wants to divert, that's fine. But I don't want to do this and then 3 months later, if the office is already short from one grant thing and then another thing, is this sufficient? Is all I'm asking.
Yeah, by the way, the state attorney's talking, this is sufficient, so.
Okay, that's my question.
Laura?
What statute were you looking at in regards to the personnel and the emergency? Just so I could write it down,
It's
please.
in the budgets. It's in the county's code, but it's.
Mr. Chairman, while you're looking that up, do you mind if I ask Ms. Fuller a question?
Sure.
Will you be able to file that paperwork to resecure that grant, or is that gone?
So the grant runs through June. We are in the process of working with, it could be a case where once it's gone, it's gone. We are working with Moultrie County. They're helping us to file the correct paperwork, and the hope is that we'll have that in. It actually runs like January through June, so we're hopeful that we'll have that in January.
And then does it run June to January then? So you'll file another set for the back half of the year?
Correct. And based on what I have, I do have sufficient funds in my budget for my clerk right now, but again, we've only got one in there, whereas normally we would have both an administrative assistant and a victim witness coordinator who does nothing but coordinate with our victims.
Okay. But there is a chance that 21's coming back to your office?
Not for this calendar year. We would have to reapply, and it would be.
Oh, so the money that is not coming, didn't come, it's not coming, it's gone.
Correct.
I understand.
Martha, to answer your question, it's 55 ILCS 5/6-1003.
Can you read that a little bit slower? Sorry.
Yep. 55 ILCS
Yes.
5/6
6.
6-1003.
Thank you.
Basically, it says, further appropriations barred, semicolon transfers, and then once and I'm going to paraphrase, once the adoption of the county budget is made, no further appropriations can be made. Fast forward down to a little bit, says adoption of the county budget, transfer of appropriations may be made without a vote of the board. However, transfers of appropriations affecting personnel and capital may be made at any meeting of the board by 2/3 vote of all constituents of the board. So, personnel would fall into that. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Amley,
Yes.
Bang,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Fernhaber,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes.
Keenan,
Yes.
Mayhall,
Yes.
McCormick,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Orman,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Shuck,
Yeah.
Tate,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, item 7 is discussion and vote to approve quarter budget amendment, request for additional $12,000 for the coroner's key fund equipment purchase. 063-057-5410. Now, I talked to the coroner just a little bit prior to the meeting. This isn't necessarily a budget amendment, so I'll turn it forward to the coroner. There we go, Brad. This isn't necessarily a budget amendment, more or less a expenditure update, I suppose.
Yeah, it's not a need for more money. It's just basically money coming from the fund that I already have, that is a cremation fund that the coroner's office gets annually, and that is to be used for equipment. And I have the funds in the cremation fund to do that. What it is I've had an opportunity to purchase a striker cot, which is a powered cot. I think it supports maybe 600 pounds, something like that. They run $25,000 to $30,000, and got an opportunity to buy a refurbished one from Stryker for $11,000, which is a pretty good price for that. I'm concerned about individuals. I mean, we've had several cases of heavy people we've had to remove, and don't want to see any injuries to the backs or whatever, work comp claims against the county, and for the cost of this and the money that's already available to me, I think it would be a good purchase. And I mainly just wanted to let the board know, about what's going on with it. It's not any money from the taxpayers.
Make a motion.
Is it necessary?
Perfect.
I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, he's just updating the word on this. We're not actually going to amend the budget. Any questions to the coroner while he's here? Hearing none. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Will. Item 8 is discussion and vote to approve an audit of the state attorney's office pursuant to 55 ILCS 5/9-31005. Is there a motion? Motion by Sonny, seconded by Jeremy. Is there any discussion? Ted?
Is this to identify an auditor?
No, this is to approve an audit.
And then
This is, I guess, the declaration the board wants to continue with the audit. That's as far as I can tell about the agenda.
Is it permissible to amend to include the current auditor? I believe they already have some audits ongoing.
We would be taking action on something that would not be. Martin, Harold, Jamie.
I was going to ask about the auditor. We don't know who is going to do the audit.
As a current order proposed.
I didn't hear you.
No, to my knowledge, no one proposed an idea of an approach or solicitation of audit. Martin.
Were there any funds managed by the state's attorney's office during Mr. Hanlon's time here?
Actual funds, no. The funds go to the sheriff's office.
So I don't know what there would be to audit.
we went through this last year. Isn't there a statutory requirement to perform an audit when an office is vacated?
Right.
Within so many
So
days.
then, just the same as an annual audit, our legal department has requested information of their budget that they spend money on, or does that information come out of the treasurer's office? That comes out of the treasurer's office on annual. So to do a state attorney audit just on the office, I had hands up somewhere.
The prior state's attorney to that had a credit card, so that would have been a fund in that office that would have necessitated an audit. I don't believe that Mr. Hamlin had a credit card, so I don't know why we wouldn't just ask the question of our current auditor. And if they say there are no funds there, there's nothing to audit, then we have a simple answer. I don't know why we would try to bid out something that may be all for naught.
I'm not on finance anymore, but I think that there had been bills come through there, hadn't there, with a credit card for that office, for different things. I don't know if it was his, the county's, or what, but I think that there was charges come through there. Tad saying, yeah.
So if I remember right, he did not hold the credit card. He used the credit card, but he did not hold it. The treasurer held the card, he used it on him.
But there was money spent that was paid by the county on a credit card for his office.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I think due diligence is you do the audit. I've seen this practice many times. The board approves that an audit's going to happen, then those that are in charge of seeing that audit will come back at the next board meeting and present, this is who we're going to audit, and if there's nothing to audit, there's nothing to audit. Leave that to the auditors. I would urge a yes vote.
Teresa.
But who's going to be the auditor? I think that's the big question.
That is a great question, but that's not the question we're asking today. The question we're asking today is, are we going to audit it?
I understand that, but I don't think it can just arbitrarily be handed to the one that we have right now.
It won't. We'll have to vote on that
Okay.
later.
Okay.
Jeremy.
Mr. Chairman, as legislative brought to the board the audit for the last time, legislative, I'm sure, would be happy to pick this one up and bring a recommendation to the board for July.
Okay. Any other questions, comments about the market?
This isn't a forensic audit, this is just an audit. There's a big difference between the two.
Correct. It's just
The county has an auditor currently. I don't know why if we were going to perform a forensic audit, then I can understand having a discussion about using a different auditor, but an audit's an audit, and the auditor has the information from the various departments now. Maybe they request a few more items, but
right, and that's really the question of what will be audited will be answered to. So. But for now, the board is deciding if we want to conduct an audit or not. So, any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 9, upon recommendation of the Farm Committee, discussion of votes to approve 2 blocks of plant and harvest beans on the county farm. Fox provide equipment manpower to Dawson County. Seed beans are donated and mow the waterways, road, and cemetery with all proceeds from the bean harvest to go to Shelby County. No motion to approve. Teresa makes a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Carol. Discussion. Mark.
so this board has voted and approved twice in 2 different meetings to plant the cover crop on the farm ground. So I'm wondering why we are back at this spot when we've already approved planting the cover crop, not once, but twice. Why are we not planting the cover crop and moving on?
So is this subject to ILCS 1049.2?
He's not leasing, it's not a crop share, it's not,
It is custom farming.
it's not custom farming, he's doing it for free
Okay.
for him. What the county would be paying for would be the chemicals and the insurance,
Okay, so we'll have to hash out.
which his bid was $22,400, or what he got from actually Stu's here if you want him to talk, $22,470. When we talked at the farm meeting, and there were 4 people who agreed to farm and 1 person who did not, you can spend almost the same amount of money for a cover crop, which we don't have all those projected prices yet either. You could spend almost the same amount of money for a cover crop and receive nothing in return. So we can spend approximately $23,000 and get $100,000 in return. because with the insurance, and we're still able to get the insurance, is that right, Stu?
Yeah.
Okay. So with the insurance, we are assured of getting $100,000, okay? That's $100,000 that goes into the general fund that pays for anything that needs to be paid for in the county. It helps pay for the state's attorney's money that she needs, anything. We spend the money for a cover crop, and we figured the other night, $19,000 would cost.
Application fee, right?
Yeah, the application fee. That's to get a farmer. You have to hire a farmer to do it. As far as I know, Jeremy didn't have, maybe he has it tonight, what it's going to cost the farmer to plant that cover crop. Then we have to hire somebody to mow the waterways, the road, and the cemetery. And that's $500 every time it's done. And last year it was only done twice. And the cemetery looked like crap. The weeds are up to your knees, you can't see anything. To me, that's disrespectful to the people who are buried out there, the 2 Civil War veterans who are buried out there, and nobody's taking care of that cemetery. The county is not doing their job of taking care of that cemetery. If we decide we're not going to do either one of those, and we decide on the just to disc the weeds, that's $6,000. And that would have to be done now, and again, probably in the fall, because the weeds are going to continue to grow. And that has to be taken care of because they're noxious weeds. They grow out there every year. And then we're going to be in trouble with the county because we have noxious weeds. So are we going to spend $23,000 approximately and get a crop? Or are we going to spend the same amount of money and cost the taxpayers $20,000 for absolutely nothing?
Mr. Chairman. In response to your question, Bobby, I did ask in the farm committee meeting last week if this was a custom farm type arrangement, and Ms. Cole did indicate that, in fact, it is. She said, yeah.
I said if it was for $1 like you did last time it would be, but it's not for $1. It's free. And you asked me, we need to bid it out. And I said, we need to bid free. Do you know of somebody else who wants to farm for free? I don't know how we can do it for
Martha,
So back to my original question, this board has voted on and approved in 2 separate meetings to plant the cover crop. So why do we not have the bids and the cover crop be going in? That's what we approved. So are we to a point where if we don't like a decision made by the majority, as the minority, we just keep bringing it back, bringing it back, bringing it back until we get the vote we want? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is the chemical outlays, the cost of the insurance. Are those approved expenditures for the Public Fund Investment Act? Because farming is an investment. This is an investment. So are those expenditures approved? Expenditures?
No.
Okay.
So back to the question and answer of whether or not this is a custom farm or not. Whether it's $0, $1, $100,000, doesn't matter. It's all American value. 0 being American value, just as much as any of them. So this is a custom farm, and it is something to take away 9.2. You're back, Keith has it for it.
Well, the point I was going to make is if we plant, if the cover crop and soybeans are the same money, the soybeans are a cover crop right up until you run a combine. They're not any different. You're spraying it. They're keeping the weeds controlled. You could put soybeans out as your cover crop just as well as you can put barley out or fescue or radishes.
We never voted on doing a cover crop. We voted on the farm committee discussing a cover crop because we never had any costs on it. Last time, it was to be brought back to the committee to discuss the cover crop, but we never had any prices for a cover crop.
Right, but the board back in April voted to go with cover crop.
And you can still do a cover crop, but most of them don't do a cover crop in the spring or in the summer. They do it in the fall after the crop has been harvested.
Covers can be planted 12 months a year. So,
If item 9 is subject to 1049.2, we could deliberate this until 1 o'clock in the morning. We don't have enough votes. There's not enough members in the assembly to pass this.
this is true.
There's 16.
Takes 17 votes. So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to table 9.
Second.
Motion table 9, seconded by Jeremy. Any discussion on, I'm sorry, any discussion on table? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no.
We haven't discussed it.
I'm opposed.
You made a motion and you seconded it.
Yeah, table, there's no discussion on table.
Okay, go ahead.
It's either the table or not table. So, no votes.
What is it now?
This is no votes for tabling. Teresa, Heath, Carol, Tim, Tad, Fred, Dawn, Tim, Clay.
I have Heath, Carol, Teresa, Brent, Dawn, Tad, Tim, and Clay. I got 8.
Two Tims.
2 Tims, oh, Morse, yep. Okay, so that'd be 9 against tabling.
Tabling fails,
Yes.
so we'll go back to discussion.
Mr. Chairman, discussion to what end? There are not enough members in the gallery to pass this agenda item. That's a fact. So are we just going to sit here and talk about it all night and end up with nothing?
Good.
Carol.
If we do a cover crop, that's farming.
That's right.
And it's going to have to be passed by 3/4 too.
A cover crop is not an investment into a return.
It's
It is
farming.
maintaining the property, no more than owning the yard.
You think that you're going to get organic matter and possibly some fertilizer out of that cover crop, otherwise you wouldn't do it.
That's right.
The cover crop is protecting weeds and soil erosion. Now, the other parts of it, if you could measure it, would be logical, but those take years to start to generate.
But wouldn't soybeans accomplish the same thing? Until we run the combine, they're just as good a cover crop.
Well, that is logical and feasible. All the way to the combine it becomes an investment. Brandon.
As long as the taxpayers know that there's a possibility of a lawsuit if we farm, and the taxpayers are fine with farming it and possibly spending thousands of dollars in defense of farming it, let's farm it. I mean, we have fought this thing for so long, there ain't a person in Shelby County that don't know about farming the farm. And we still keep doing this. Now we're arguing about a cover crop, whether it's beans, whether it's a cover crop we get nothing off of. Let's take the $100,000, and if we have to defend ourselves in court, we can use that $100,000 as a defense in court. I mean, let's either let the people that want to say that there's going to be a lawsuit, let's bring it on. And then the people that know we have to defend ourselves and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in court, then we can't say, well, now we got to spend this money to defend ourselves, and they get mad about that. We know there could be a lawsuit. Bring it on. Bring the lawsuit on, whoever wants to do it, and then we'll get this over once and for all. And we can either farm the farm and it'll be legal, or we're going to be spending thousands of dollars in defending farming the farm. Right now, this arguing and stuff and getting nothing done and tabling it and not tabling it, what we're doing is we're just passing the buck along until it's too late to do anything.
Correct.
Right. So let's do something. Now, I just want to get this over and done with and move along. If we're going to sell it, put it up for sale, let's sell it. If we're going to farm it, let's farm it and take the chance of a lawsuit. I mean, we've been down this road and down this road, and we voted to sell it. So that is I don't know when that's supposed to happen or whatever, but they voted to sell it. So if we're going to sell it, I guess get it up on the auction block and sell it. But right now we got to decide. I mean, this fighting back and forth over a cover crop now. I mean, and like you say, if it takes as much to put a cover crop in, almost as it takes to do beans, and we're going to get $100,000 on, well, we got $100,000 to fight a lawsuit on.
No lawsuits yet.
So I'm done. That's my thing.
Sorry.
Can't we find any can we pass by this for me and get another board member in here so we can get this thing figured out? Isn't there somebody else we can call to get in here?
Well, the next question is there an ordinance? Have we passed an ordinance? Do we have an ordinance?
Mr. Chairman, if I might. First of all, Section 1049.2 requires this to be bid, and it's not been bid. I understand the limited expense. However, 1049.2, the new law, does not say unless it's done at limited expense or reduced expense or for no expense. It doesn't say that. It says must be bid, and it's not been bid. Two, I believe it was mentioned, we don't have to do the cover crop if we're concerned about the expense. We can just disc the weeds a time or two, and that will not incur the expense of the cover crop. Three, it is an investment. It's an investment.
What she thinks.
It's an investment in something that bears risk. Anytime you're betting on the weather, it's an investment that bears risk. And to Mr. Ross's point, it takes 17 votes to pass. There's 16 board members present. We can't pass this. There's no reason to continue to beat the dead horse.
And the bid process is for a lease, and this is not a lease. This is a free.
I agree with Heath that I think we should let Stu plant the beans and pay the money for the spraying, and change the wording on the sale bill that the purchaser gets the bean crop, which may increase what we get for the sale of the farm.
No, absolutely not.
Therefore, we're not out any more money one way or the other.
That's ridiculous.
I ain't gonna do that, dog. I ain't farming for somebody that's gonna buy it. I'll farm for you guys, but I ain't doing that. And, you know, I mean, I see what you're saying, but that ain't what I signed up for.
Okay, that's fine.
You know.
That was just an idea of how you get the crop covered, and we're not out anything.
You have your state's attorney sitting right here listening to all this. Why don't you ask her how she feels about this and the legality of it? That's what her job is. But nobody will turn around and ask her. She's sitting right here. Why don't you ask her?
Is there anything that you'd like to add to this conversation?
I would state that opinions of attorneys differ in the civil field, in the criminal field, in every area of law. I do not read the Investment Act to include money into crops. I read it to mean money put into a bank and or CDs and to other investments, what we typically read as investments. I believe that that is stretching the definition of investment in this. I mean, laws are written to be read very strictly. They're not read to be expanded, in my opinion. If they wanted to include those types of things as quote-unquote investments, they would have defined it. They have not. I will also state that the law does explicitly allow gifts to be made to government entities. I would consider farming for free a gift. Would not be a lease that would have to be bid. But again, that is my opinion. Opinions of attorneys differ, interpretations of laws differ. But based on my research that I have done this past week, in preparation for this meeting, that's where my position is on those two issues.
She represents us.
And she's our state's attorney. She's our state's attorney, guys.
What does that, what you just said, does that affect what Mr. Ross was saying about needing a 3/4 vote to approve the minutes, or approve this action?
That I don't know off the top of my head. I would have to look at the statute to see what it requires. And I'm happy to do that. Well, looks like we got a copy here.
She represents us.
So this statute specifically, I mean, it's even titled lease of county property. If we're not considering this a lease, then this statute does not apply.
Point two.
I'm sorry.
Point
Yes,
two.
Point two.
Point two includes custom farming and crop share. What is the vote requirements for those two things? Because it then includes leases in point two part.
I mean, the statute is, it doesn't speak to those other types of issues.
Mr. Chairman?
Chairman.
Maybe we ought to wait until we get a written legal opinion so she can have time to do some research.
We don't have time.
We don't have time for that.
You know that.
You could ask Stu when his last day is that he can plant.
Why can't we just vote on it, plant the beans, and then figure out if you're gonna combine them or till them under or whatever? So we get that in the ground and get the insurance bond.
Well, I don't think if you can harvest them, you gotta harvest them.
Okay,
But there's a threshold there where if they don't yield X amount of bushels, then your crop insurance guarantee kicks in and makes up that difference. It's a $519 an acre guarantee is what it is.
Can I ask you a question real quick? What is the deadline for insurance? I don't know anymore.
I have till the 20th
To plant beans?
to get beans planted. Then after that, that 519 decreases.
Is it like
They-
so many percentages till?
Yeah, they just decrease it
Yeah.
till, I don't know. I haven't planted many beans other than stubble beans after the 20th.
Right.
Somebody else have questions?
Mr. Chairman, I do have one other thing, if I might. The resolution pertaining to the farm that was approved at the May meeting did state that we would sell the, quote, complete bundle of rights associated with the property, end quote. That would include, that includes all rights that the county would have to property. The complete bundle means everything. And so that would include the right to any then standing crop. So we would have
That's not how you interpret that.
interpretate.
I guess I have a question to that point. Does that mean we run above the weeds too? That we're selling cattails and poison ivy?
What's that?
Are we selling cattails and poison ivy too as the bundle?
We would sell the right to the land.
But we have potential fines and fees for noxious weeds coming, yeah? So does the buyer pay that fee for us? Is that part of the bundle? Yes or no?
Who renders the fines and fees?
I believe the health department's responsible for that.
Through.
If you're leading questions, just answer it.
Approved to the county board.
So we have to approve our own fines and assessments for not doing
In this
anything?
situation, we will.
Okay.
Do we have to have a public purpose?
So back to the Investments Act, when you mentioned the several prongs of investing money into a bank, and you said it's pretty well defined. There's 5 different situations where you invest money into a bank. See, I look at that as Dylan's rule comes into play. When if there's no definition, then it's a prohibition. So if we're going to
There's no
spend,
definition, you use the common understanding of the word.
Yes.
We're talking about financial investments.
yeah.
I would not include paying money into a crop as a financial investment. Yes, it may be for someone who lives as a farmer, right? But that does not fall into that definition of a financial investment.
Questions, comments?
A lease is just a written contract. In the absence of a written contract, how is liability addressed? There could be injury, there could be damage, there could be death. There is risk involved with farming, be it investment or otherwise. How are we going to address liability without a written contract?
So I did notice on this one, it's a one-page agreement. And there are nothing that I saw that addresses any sort of liability of the county, of the operator, of anybody of the nature. So now with Kenny Compton's contract, there were several pages of what we'll call fine print that had both protections of the operator and the owner. So,
Bobby,
Insurance
one last thing. 1049.2.
They just don't want to farm.
1049.2, subparagraph B, sentence 2 does say farmland may be leased to either public or private entities via cash lease, crop sharing arrangement, or custom farming arrangement. This statute bundles cash rent, custom farm, and crop share in the term lease. It has that, it says that, it's in there. It's covered under 1049.2. It requires a 3/4 vote because it's bundled into the word lease.
Maybe you can tell them you might live, but they go to farm.
Stu had something he wanted to say about insurance.
Yeah, I mean, my liability insurance will cover what I do out there. You guys don't have a problem with that. Mine takes care of me and mine. And any damage I do to your farm, which that isn't going to happen. So the other side of this is this. You guys want to sell it. Okay. Make the sale pending after the crop's harvested. That takes care of that. You get your money, no matter what. The ground gets sold. The guy that buys it, whoever buys it, whatever, gets it when the crop's harvested. And that takes care of that.
That's how it works. Yeah.
I have questions, comments? Jeremy?
I would briefly address that. One of the prime seasons for selling farm ground is coming up, late July, August, early September. That's one of the prime seasons for doing that. That was one of the reasons for the...
Bull.
July and August is.
Discussion of the board.
I'm just going to go back to the Public Fund Investment Act, which I'm looking at. It says any public agency may invest any public funds as follows. And then it lists, there's 5 bullet points in what it lists out. And as you referenced, us Illinois being a Dillon's Law state, it lists out what we can invest public funds in. Nowhere in here does it say inputs, chemicals, etc. for farming. The absence of those items being listed means we don't have the authority to spend, to invest public funds in that manner.
I think Ruth might have something to say here.
Well, my question is, what is the title of that section?
Authorized investments. Any public agency may invest any public funds as follows.
Okay, back up one level. What chapter are we talking about?
This is 30 ILCS 235/2 from chapter 85, paragraph 902. It's section 2. 30 ILCS 235 is the Public Funds Investment Act.
Discussion, questions? No.
We take this back off the table for a little bit and go on to other items on the agenda while the state's attorney researches this.
So you're wanting a motion table until we can let her give her time to title out?
I'm just asking a question whether you can.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm still not clear on the vote requirement. Does it require a 3/4 vote, or does it not require a 3/4 vote?
I say requiring 3/4 vote, and also requiring a quorum.
Right, that's what I understand. That's what was at the board a couple of months ago, but was pulled off the table while we were discussing it. So I'm just trying to clear up. There was an ordinance that was brought. The farm committee brought an ordinance. We were debating the ordinance, then the ordinance was withdrawn. So here we're debating farming, have no ordinance, have to have 3/4 vote. We're sitting here with 16 members, some 30 minutes deep.
Mr. Chairman.
Good.
One last thing. That statute that Martha cited, 30 ILCS 235/2, and then .5 is an investment policy. Investment of public funds by a public agency shall be governed by a written investment policy adopted by the public agency. I have seen our investment policy for the county, and it doesn't include farming or inputs for farming or investment in farming. So
Why do we have a budget for the farm if we are not allowed to use that part of the budget? We have $167,000 budgeted for the farm, and we're asking for $23,000, and nobody wants to use that money, right?
We made the budget last year in preparation for a corn crop following beans. That was prior to the July meeting.
No,
When
it was my
in
budget.
July, it was decided that the taxes were inappropriate, and there was no public purpose, so the board voted to do nothing with it last year after the wheat was harvested. The budget was formed prior to that, and it was submitted and still approved, so that's why the budget is there.
The budget was approved it was made up last July for this year. And the budget was $167,000. Didn't have anything to do with when you were on the board. When I talked to Bellwether, that's the budget that we came up with.
Right.
Last
When
year.
I was on the committee, we built the budget and submitted it.
But it was after you were off that Bellwether talked to me. Otherwise, he wouldn't have talked to me. He would have talked to you as the board, as the
Right.
chair.
I submitted that budget. He had the numbers prior to taking over as chair of the committee.
We still have a budget. We still are able to use that budget. I don't know why there are people who do not want to see a crop on that farm. It's just beyond belief. So we're going to spend more money. We're going to have somebody kill the weeds. We're going to have somebody maybe mow the cemetery. I don't understand it.
So is item 10 in lieu of 9?
Are we skipping it?
No, I'm asking.
Item 10. Make a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve 10.
Well, we're in discussion of 9, but I'm asking in discussion of 9. is
Don't we have to
10
finish 9 before we get to 10?
Is 10 contingent on 9?
Yes.
And then is 11 contingent on 9?
Mr. Chairman, there is an issue with 11. I think there's a mix-up in some numbers and what it's for. So 11 is a little...
No, there isn't.
Yeah. 11 is for two different things. The amount listed is not for the project stated. I don't know if you want to get into discussion on 11 while we're still in discussion on 9, but...
No, so then... Yeah, so 10 through 12 are contingent on 9. Okay.
So is it 3/4 of 21? Is that what we have?
Or is it a majority just to plant, so it's too far?
No, it's 3/4 of the board, which is 21.
What's your opinion?
What does that take? Is that 16 months?
Mr. Chairman, the full board is 22, not 21. It specifically says full board, doesn't refer to those seated or not seated.
We don't have a full board.
It makes no reference to any vacant seats. It simply states full board.
Well, we've had a vacancy forever that's not been filled.
So what is, if we have what you read on the voting chart?
Hey, Bobby, I'm gonna bump this up a notch. The chemicals and the insurance is took care of now. So ain't gonna cost you people a dime. Crop will be planted, it'll be sprayed, it'll be insured. So here's the deal. You piss backwards on this. Everybody who votes no on this needs to explain why they're against making any money for our county. Because that's what it's coming down to now. It's on your table. It's on your table, bud, thumb pointer there. And you know what? That's the best I can do. But the clock's ticking because we have till the 20th to get this accomplished. And that's that. So, you know, no cost to you, period. That takes number 11 clear off the table, the mowing and the bullshit. Same along with cover crop, which that's what it is. You people don't know much about that.
Listen
You
to
know.
a farmer for once.
So that's the offer, as it stands right now.
I know nothing about farming. My apologies. Continue on. How does that read?
Clearly no.
Says upon 3/4 vote by the full county board.
So there's not even enough membership here to engage in anything.
If you consider it a lease.
If you consider it a lease, correct.
Custom farm, whether it's free or not.
No, it's not.
Yeah. They have put, the proposal is to have a crop put out on our behalf and we would get a benefit of revenue from it. Whether it's 0, 1, or 100,000, it is still custom farm.
There's no,
From 0, if it was, they paid us $20 to plant all of it, spray all the insure it all.
Hell, I'll give you $20 to farm it.
Either way, the full county board is 22 members. There's 16 members present. There's not enough to even pass an ordinance.
Not your opinion that it's a lease.
It's custom farm.
It's a gift.
Still with an intent to profit.
Mr. Chairman.
That's a gift.
That's your interpretation.
If we raise enough money to pay for it, would you farm it then?
Since Stu's offered everything free, I understand that, I get it. But even if it takes 17 votes, is that right? 17 for 3/4 of the full county board.
That's my math.
At this point, can we get a board member in here, another board member in here that's not here to make the 17 and see? I mean,
That's the lease.
Well, then we go back to the ordinance issue. We don't have an ordinance.
get it.
Yeah.
So what does so you brought up the gift aspect of it. What is described, and what is in, can you explain the gift part of it?
I do not have that with me. I did, however, just pull up a definition, legal definition of custom farming. It's from Legal Information Institute. Custom farming, performance of services on a farm, such as land preparation, seeding and harvesting, for hire, with the harvesting of crops, basically by or for someone else. But it does include the words for hire. Julie Edwards is on her way here. Said she will be here in just a few minutes.
One question. May I ask, Mr. Chair, can I ask the state's attorney a quick question? So we've had all this discussion, you haven't weighed in on the ordinance. What's your professional opinion of the ordinance?
It's either or. You either have to do it by ordinance or by 3/4 vote. It's not a requirement vote.
There you go. That's what legal is.
Said she'll be here in just a few minutes.
So can you elaborate on
I'm
that?
texting her real quick. The very beginning of section B says notwithstanding subsection A.
Can you explain notwithstanding?
Oh my gosh.
This is for the record. Pay Mitchell.
One second. Not gonna get the same deal from you guys. In spite of or nevertheless, those are your definitions of notwithstanding. So regardless of paragraph A, you can do paragraph B.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, have we defined that we are leasing or not leasing?
It doesn't matter because the statute includes custom farming, which I just explained.
Well, so what you just explained, the custom farm is the for-hire execution of a service for the owner to recover benefit.
So it's not a lease.
No, it's free.
Okay. It's,
One
Thank
person,
you.
please. Sonny has the floor.
so it's not a lease.
Correct.
It is a crop share.
No.
It is not a crop share.
It is custom farm.
It is a custom farm. So the bid process is completely irrelevant because it's free. The section B, which I agree, section B does not require an ordinance, still requires 3/4 vote, but it still has a bid process. If we don't have to follow, I'm just trying to figure out if we have to follow any of 1049.2 or none of 1049.2.
I don't think you have to follow.
I mean, that's my question to the chair, to ask to the state's attorney. If we
Even
don't,
if it applies, how are you going to bid free? Which I think that's the question that they asked before.
I could go home and get the lease from 2 years ago, if that helps. I mean, I don't know, but 2 years ago, this deal was done and there wasn't no issue, so I don't know.
So you got the floor.
I'm not a legal scholar, that's why I'm asking if what do we have to do? If we have to do nothing but a majority vote, if we don't have to follow A or B of 1049.2, we don't need a 17th member. Yes?
That's true.
Okay, that's what I thought. We don't need an ordinance because we're not following A or B. We don't need 17 votes. It's a gift from Mr. Fox to the county he's stated on record having all the insurances necessary to absolve the county of any liability for his person or equipment. Is that correct?
Absent negligence on the part of the county.
Okay. That's what I needed to know. I yield back.
Quick question.
Please elaborate on negligence on part of the county.
So, for example, right now, where it's not being maintained, if somebody were to go out there, true, they didn't any trespassing, but if somebody were to go out there to the cemetery, for example, and fall in a hole because they couldn't see it because the weeds are up to your knees, the county could be liable.
Right.
Well, that's negligence.
Which in itself proves that the property in itself is a liability, but I digress.
It's not properly maintained.
I can have zero crop for a full stand of corn on my farm, and exactly the moment that somebody runs into it and dies of suffocation in the cornfield, that could be on me. That's why I carry that big umbrella with insurance.
And that's why he has insurance.
But
And I would assume the county had, I guess I don't know, that the county has insurance on this property to cover certain things.
the inherent is a liability. Teresa.
Sonny, just everything you just said, all the questions that were answered and stuff, do you take it that it would be a majority vote to farm and farm?
According to legal counsel, as she just spoke, that's what I understand. We're not following any portions of 1049.2. That is a moot point. We don't need an ordinance. We don't need 3/4 vote. It's a gift. We're not spending any money. We don't even, it doesn't even need a roll call vote.
Call vote.
Kip, call for a vote.
I got a point.
He did have his hand raised.
I know Stu will, but just for record, I think it'd be good to have your insurance on files all, if you wouldn't be a problem.
That ain't no problem.
I sure it wouldn't be. So.
Okay. I call
I'll
for
get
a
it and
vote.
I'll give it to Jack.
I call for a vote.
All in favor of item 9, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
No.
Item 9 carries. So that moves 10, 11, 12. Item 13.
Point of order. Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Guess what,
You
Julie?
can go back home.
They would have had it noticed when I said Julie's on the way.
Now, come on in.
They would have had it
Let's bring it up to speed.
That was the whole argument. When I said you're coming, they agreed to it.
Okay.
Hi, Julie.
Tennessee was great, by the way.
Point of order. 10 is moot because Mr. Fox has agreed to purchase the chemicals, correct?
Yep.
And the crop insurance.
Yep.
So then, why is 11 moot?
Because in the not lease agreement, not rental agreement, not custom farm agreement, it says that he would maintain the property.
As part of the gift.
Yes.
And so then, discussion and vote for a cover crop. Okay, I understand. Thank you, sir. I yield back.
So item 13 is discussion and vote on diphenol rescue pollution upon recommendation of the Public Safety Committee.
So moved.
Motion by Sonny, seconded by Heath. Discussion on the resolution. Martha.
I guess I'm just trying, this board spent, what, hour and a half plus passing a resolution a few months ago. What is wrong with that resolution and what needs to be changed with that resolution and why?
A lot of discussions with committee members as well as the insurance company was to pare down resolution to be simply a declaration of a dive team with the caveat to that. Then the next item coming up is the SOP, SOGs becomes the lanes or the boundaries in which the team operates within. So then we talk about liability, we talk about culpability, we talk about the rules they have to follow. That's what the insurance company is looking at. That, you know, they did what they were supposed to. They stayed in the lines that the board determined they needed to stay in with. So paring back the resolution to be much more simple, to then beef up and robust the documents that will then help with any insurance questions and then how they operate when they are either on scene or throughout the year for training purposes.
So what changes were made from the original resolution to the current?
It really is pared down. Mr. Ross might have more to it, but it just simply got pared down to, again, the dive team under the Water Rescue Act is in the county, and that we will, as a board, appoint the commander, and that they will follow the Water Rescue Act as their principles, and then they will also provide SOPs, SOGs to the board in which governs how they operate.
Mr. Chairman. To Mr. Mayhall's point, yes, this new resolution has been shortened from roughly 3 to 4 pages. It included various organizational structure that's been moved from the resolution into the SOP SOG document. The SOP SOG document is also to be approved by the full board. The language is still in the resolution that the board chair appoint the commander, and it still references back to heavy consideration from the dive team as well as the public safety committee. Still sets the dive team under the public safety committee. I feel like it's a good document, and I would just urge a yes vote on this item. I yield back.
Yeah, so the question for that is kind of the way. I've had discussions about SOPs and SOGs and the difference between the two. Kind of in the conversation we've had in the past, is procedures defined versus guidelines defined.
The test question was going to come.
Yes, I know what it is.
Well, I mean,
it's in the SOP, SOG, which is which. So procedures are. I'm just going to ask for help on this test.
You want me to handle that, Dan?
Thank you.
Just so long as we have a separation of guidelines and procedures.
Your procedure is what you follow. there's no deviation from it, that's your procedure. Your
Right.
guideline, it gives you wiggle room.
Right.
In the document, the italicized text is a guideline, and the normal text is a procedure.
There we go.
Mr. Chairman, to that point, I have found in my past that the only people that care whether it is a procedure or a guideline when it comes to terms of liability are the insurance company. I think Mr. Mayhall will back me up on this, that we're good where we're at.
Okay. My concern was making sure that they were.
Yeah, it was an amendment that we had to make the other day to differentiate in the language, and so it was an amendment we made the other day to italicize, or denote that they are in the early paragraphs of that.
Right. Any other questions, comments? Do we even have a motion on the floor?
Yes.
I made the motion.
Okay.
He seconded, he said.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments about this resolution? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So item 14 is to vote on the SOP SOPs.
So moved.
Motion by Sonny, seconded by Tad. Discussion.
Under section 1, response area and fee structure, it still has language in there in regards to a fee being assessed for $1,500. I think this has been discussed multiple times, but we do have an AG opinion to the then State's Attorney Alan Woolley from January of 2006 that addressed this when Mr. Woolley asked for an opinion on charging a fee. So are we assured that charging a fee is statutorily appropriate?
So we went through this, and I was going to make the amendment. I will make it here in a moment. It was discussed with the state's attorney, cross-referenced with a different state's attorney. So for now, I make an amendment to strike section 1, which begins response area and fee structure, going into the second sentence that begins with for response outside Shelby County, stricken all the way down to the next sentence, which says such a fee shall then be supplemented into the team's budget. So the amendment will strike that part of the paragraph.
Sonny seconds the amendment to strike the paragraph with fees and structure. Discussion on that?
Just make clear, it's being stricken for a further assessment to possibly then be re-added at a later time, right? What the intent is to, again, we want to achieve mutual aid as far as we can with other agencies, but in the vein of protecting taxpayer resources for Shelby County is if they're called, and we have the ability to recoup costs, and that's the intent.
And I can comment on that real briefly.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I did speak with the Effingham County State's Attorney. They have a very similar document in place for their dive team. It is basically, they're only required to respond to individuals, government entities, groups who they have a mutual aid agreement with. So if someone contacts them and wants aid, who they do not have that agreement with, they do not have to provide aid at this point. Effingham County, they do charge a fee. Aaron and I have spoken, and potentially we're going to have more than just the two of us state's attorneys get together to discuss this going forward to see, because we want to be compliant with the law, and that's kind of the way it's always been done. So just to update.
So to her point, and to Mr. Mayhall's point, the point of the amendment is there are questions about it. We want to just remove something that may be prohibitive so that we can get a great foundation for the dive team to begin moving, and then there's commitment to work together, meet with the state's attorney, and at such point at a later time we might be bringing this back forward. With that amendment, And this document, I think that this is the direction that we need to be going moving forward.
Okay, any other questions, discussion?
So you said we would strike for responses outside Shelby County until it gets to where?
The work budget?
Okay, strike all that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And I mean, if you need a revised copy, I'll have it in the city division.
okay, perfect.
So basically, two sentences, I see, right? Yeah, two sentences. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor of item 4, I'm sorry, the amendment of item 14, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries to amend. Back to general discussion of item 14. Any other discussion, questions, comments for item 14?
Mr. Chairman.
So,
I do want to point out that this document this SOP, SOG, will see the county board chair signature, will be on file. Any amendments that need to be made to it in the future will come back to the full board. So there is still the full board oversight. I think this is a great piece of legislation that has been worked on tirelessly, and I would urge everybody in this room to vote yes for this.
any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor of item 14 as amended, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 15 is discussion and vote on the document application upon the recommendation of the Public Safety Committee. For motion.
Make the motion.
Tad makes the motion. Carol seconds the motion. Discussion on the application. Hearing none, all in favor of the application say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 16, discussion and vote to approve timekeeping policy at the recommendation of the legislative committee. Martha makes the motion, is there a second? Jeremy seconds the motion. Discussion on timekeeping policy. Julie.
I'm going to vote that we table this. We had a little discussion earlier, Jeremy and I. This is the same policy that we have brought to the board time and time again. To my knowledge, I don't really think anything's been changed. We are getting feedback from department heads, and I asked Jeremy, and he probably has tried, but we had Mr. Hanlon's legal opinion. I feel like we need our current state's attorney's legal opinion on where we are with this timekeeping policy. There's a grievance that's been filed by the health department about the time clocks. Why we are trying to pass this right now, I just don't get it when there's a grievance out there. So I'm asking that we table it until we get some resolution on some things.
Second though.
You made the motion.
Oh, yes, I make a motion. Whatever we have to do to
Motion
get this on
second
the
by
agenda.
Sonny. All in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
No.
Martha, Jeremy, myself, no. Motion carries the table, so we'll move on to committee reports. Any committee reports?
Just going to report that the airport is having a car show on September 14th. I think that's the date, I'll make sure. Just hope that anybody that has an old car, bring it out there. There's going to be lots of stuff for people to do, food, trucks. Just go out and support the airport, and I believe there'll be a fly-in also.
What day is that?
I think it's September 14th.
Okay.
It's Saturday, yeah.
Any other committee reports? Go ahead.
I was going to report on the rescue squad. They were able to get their new box. It's mounted. Seems to be working out really well for them. Thanks to some help from Senator McClure. We were able to get a bill passed through the House and the Senate. We're expecting that to be signed by the governor soon. It'll go into law January. So we'll be working with the rescue squad to get their resolution, SOP, SOGs, so that they can get on a solid foundation. We didn't have the legal standing to do that, and quite a bit of effort went into getting that done. I know Mr. Kamick, the chief of the rescue squad, has done a lot of work on that, and there's been various members of this committee, various members of the community that have worked very hard to get that done. I'm proud to say that that did get passed through the House and the Senate in the nick of time. So we'll be getting that worked on and make sure that the rescue squad's on a solid foundation.
Yeah, so speaking with Commander Pritchard, dive is full up and running. 911's been notified. All their regulators, everything was sent off, mask inspected, certified, everybody's good to go there. Animal control, and I'll bring this forward next month, but Ms. Miller has asked that we reconsider the surplus of the truck for her use in that department. So we'll revisit that later when she gives me a formal request, but she's basically said that there's a need and she needs that truck kept for that department. So we'll revisit that, we'll bring something forward through committee next month. And then, well, the sheriff's still here or not, but the sheriff came to us public safety last week, even though he's got the ball on the windows, but he received everything back and intends to proceed forward with the project with a pretty robust timeline, of which I have a copy of it. I don't have it now. But,
December was supposed to be the end.
but yeah, by year end, it should be completed. So I think that's it.
I haven't talked to Steve, so no, I don't have anything. I've been on vacation already.
You wouldn't have to meet for another quarterly.
Usually he sends me something if he wants it discussed.
Any other committee reports? Okay, moving on, we'll move to updates. There's only one update that I have off the top of my head, and that is I received an email from the auditor today. Basically is an update, and it goes like this. Hope this finds you well. I wanted to provide you with an update regarding the status of the 22 audit. We are still working on the draft report that will be presentable for the Board of Commissioners. We have completed most of the financial statements and footnotes. However, we are still working on a certain supplementary schedule. In particular, we are preparing the budget to actual statement for the major funds, which would be the general, the county health, IMRF, Social Security, and township NFT funds. We are not certain of the reason, but these statements were not included in the FY21 report, but will be for the FY22. We're also going through various findings that we have identified and consolidating them into what will be included in the report. We apologize for this process taking the time that it's taking. It has become much more time consuming than originally anticipated. However, we will keep pushing forward to get the drafts and final deliverables complete as soon as possible. So that is the update. So basically there's 21 reports that they're having to update and figure out, as well as all of the financials. So that's all I've got on that. We'll move forward into chairman appointments. Walt Lukowski to Airport Landing Field Commission, 3-year term. Motion by Carol, seconded by Tad. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Next is John Hall to Airport Landing Field for a 3-year term. Is there a motion? Motion by Carol, seconded by Tad. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Dr. John Briggs to County Board of Health, County Health Board for a 3-year term. Motion. Motion by Tim, seconded by Carol. All in favor say aye. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Dr. Rick Brown to County Health Board for a 3-year term.
So moved.
Motion by Jeremy, seconded by Dawn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then we have a conglomeration. I will do all these as one. The Cynthia Alapra, Greg Miller, Maria Schaefer, David Ogden, Mark Shanks to the Shelby County Tourism Committee for 1 year. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Harold, seconded by Jeremy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries for appointment. Next appointment is Teresa to the West Central Development Council.
They asked for 2,
I know. Will you accept that one?
yes,
Okay.
because I've talked to this man, we need 2. Make a motion.
This can be anybody in the county.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, anybody knows somebody that wants to be on the West Central Committee, let me know.
I have a question on the next one.
Yeah.
When did we start with our rescue squad committee? When did that come around?
We're still on Western Central Development.
Yeah. Who made that motion? You made the motion?
Carol made the motion, seconded by Tad. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Or appointment carries. So, the Rescue Squad Committee has been undocumented, just the same as the dive committee. It was undocumented until now, basically. Actually, no. It's always been off of the board rules. It's not been included. But it has been a committee of the board, just not included in the rules.
Actually, I found it went back to like this, I want to say like maybe the 80s or 90s when the Rescue Squad Committee was formed, kind of to be a liaison between the Rescue Squad and the county board, because I've done some research in the old county board records. So actually this committee's lasted for, it's been in existence for quite a long time, but it's not really, it's kind of like the airport committee almost, you know, they go to the meetings and they kind of are a go-between, but it's kind of not, it's kind of like just a rescue squad committee. I think it kind of came about maybe when the county kind of took over the rescue squad from the fire protection district maybe, but I did do some research in the county board books, and it's been in existence for several years.
Okay, I just wondered, because I looked on my order of business, and it's not listed.
It's not
I just
a
wondered.
committee of the board,
Okay.
but it is a committee. It's like West Central or the airport or,
But in the old days, it was dive rescue, and you moved dive under public safety.
With
dive
the
and rescue
resolution.
have been separated for 20 years.
But they met together. They met at the same time, we had our same meetings, and the same people were on that committee. There was always 3 of us. So that's just my question. You moved dive under public safety.
We moved that with the resolution, which is what will happen moving forward with the rescue squad.
That's the intention of doing that?
That's the intention.
Okay.
So the next appointment is Sean Marks and myself, the rescue squad.
So moved. Second.
Motion second by Sonny and Jeremy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Appointment carries. Is there any other correspondences for the board? Hearing none, item 21 is an ARPA fund update. Anybody have an ARPA fund update? I don't have it.
I didn't ask, so I don't have it.
Yeah.
I have the one that she sent out on 5/8. And actually, the windows were listed on
Right, because,
But we had that money set aside as committed, and it's actually not on here. Maybe it's just oversight that she on the
Right.
one before, under committed, there was $1,250,000 for the windows, but it's not on this list now. So it looks like we have two on this.
I'd say it was just an oversight. I think
Could
we
be
talked
an
about that in
oversight, but
public
then it
safety.
also tells us that we have $2,378,000 left.
right, and Sheriff, have you gotten you've gotten a bid on the windows, haven't you?
I have estimates, yes.
So if you've got estimates, then we can start making some reasonable deductions on that, so. But, yeah, that's
I'm just saying.
just not including the windows. Okay, any other old business?
Go ahead.
I have a question.
I have Julie up here.
Okay.
I just wondered, do you have an update on the 911
That's fine.
train rescues or
Can I
the
give it?
Communications?
communications? Yes, thank you.
So, Monday night, there should have been a vote, and the Sheriff can elaborate more on this, or Sonny can elaborate more
That was
on
my.
this.
If you
Go ahead and elaborate.
Okay, so I've been in constant communication with Ms. Curl and the 911 board, trying to address this communications issue. On Monday, the 911 board voted to pay for, out of their funding, enough money for 2 site updates. So it will take care of communication issues for Cowden and Herrick. And then when that project is done, there'll be additional funds and there'll be a site repair at Windsor to help the east side of the county. I spoke with both Mr. Estrada and Mr. Brands. I spoke with the chief in that area down there. Everyone seems to be on the same page. I'm going to ask, I'm kind of putting this on Chairman Mayhall for the public safety. I would like to see public safety address this issue and bring it to the full board, that with the $120,000 commitment that 911 has committed out of their funding, that we use some of our available funds to help with some site locations in Findlay and Assumption Moweaqua area. When we do that, that's also going to create concerns for the sheriff, which is why I feel like it would be good if it goes to the public safety. When they switch from one tower in that direction to 2 towers, it's going to create a problem for the sheriff. So I would like to see this board help fix those emergency communications, and then also address the concerns that the sheriff's going to have, so that we can sort of knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. 911 board has committed a substantial amount of money to making this better, and I would like to see us do the same thing. So far, everybody seems to be good with what's going on, so I'll get with Mr. Mayall and have time to talk to him about it today, but I think that's something that'll probably go through public safety, because it's going to directly impact public safety of the county and the sheriff. So,
yeah.
Good news, it's moving.
Yeah, and there was an update in that Cowden area where there was preventive maintenance work done, and a lot of repairs were made, and drastically improved Cowden's communication. So hopefully they're improving back to where they started from, and then when we put new tower locations down there, we will expand even further and get to where they're talking more remotely, like on their handheld stuff.
And working through public safety, working with the sheriff, working with this board back to 911, it's not going to be a case where this board says, here, go buy this stuff. We're going to try to figure out how they can tell us what they need, and then we can do our best to meet those needs, so that the whole system works together and there's not a Band-Aid here and a Band-Aid there. it's kind of a system-wide upgrade, taking it to the next level, so.
Okay, any other old business? Yes,
Status report on the arbitration for the FOPs and stuff.
I have no idea.
The pay, the $6 and $3.
That's a question for the sheriff.
It was settled.
It was settled then?
Yes, yeah, it was settled and they're paying return to them.
They got their $6 an hour
Correct.
and they got back pay for it?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other old business? Hearing none, we will get into approval of the claims. Is there a motion to approve the claims? Don makes a motion, seconded by Sonny. Any discussion on the claims as presented?
Was there something wrong with the 708? Did we get them straightened out and stuff?
Well, we got them late because they had their 708 meeting on the 11th. So I told Kristen in the future, go ahead and send them unsigned so committee can see them, and then we can at least put the signed once, you know, but this way, because then I had to send them out.
Okay. Just so they got
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So there's gonna have to be a significant adjustment from what finance saw to include those 708 bills, yes? Does that need to be an official amendment? I'll make a motion to amend the bills to include the late received 708 bills. I do not have a total, so please don't ask.
7,500 and 109.5.
So 116,000 and change.
And that's for 3 months.
I'll second.
So Sonny makes the motion to amend, Don seconds the motion to amend. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion to amend carries. We'll go back to the original motion to approve the claims. So there's now a motion to approve the claims as amended. Is there any discussion on that?
I just want to clarify, we pulled some things, none of those got pulled back in.
That is correct.
Okay. So, the follow-up to that, then, I mean, for that committee, for those that don't know, we pair up, right? We go through a stack together and, you know, dual initial for every bill that's there. So we don't all see everything that comes through. But reflecting back to next month, there was a request that was sent back for training expenses from the state's attorney's office. I did not do that stack of bills.
No, that was
Corner.
No, sorry. Last month,
Oh, yeah.
there was a request for training from the assistant state's attorney. I do not know if that, did that make it back into that stack?
No, because there were no receipts received.
Right, so they weren't received. That's what I'm asking, just as we're discussing her budget. I didn't want something else to come up.
I didn't see any, and you didn't see any either. I did not see that.
I didn't have that stack of bills, so.
Correct.
So but I just want to clarify to make sure that then we're not surprised later.
Right. To what you were discussing, and she mentioned there is a corners future expenditure that's been pulled until such a time as the event occurs, and then there's also an estimated invoice for truck repair that will be sometime in the future. And I called her on Miss Cheney is her name. I recall it was Shelby County Community Services. Yeah. Anyway, that's been pulled, and that was agreed to have been pulled. So yes. And per our conversation, I did speak with the clerk and the treasurer and the state's attorney, trying to ensure that she has all the necessary documents to make tax-free purchases and online purchases and things of that nature. So.
Okay. So we have the claims as amended. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Amley?
Yes.
Bain?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Fernhaber?
Yes.
Hardy?
Yes.
Keenan?
Yes.
Mahon,
Yes.
McCormick,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Shuck,
Yep.
Tate,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Anybody signed up to public body comments, so we'll open up the floor. There's 5 minutes. No yield. And we'll start public body comment. Right here.
I just have a question regarding the audit on the state's attorney's office. Jeremy stated that, I think he said it's a legislative committee that would go over it and bring recommendation to the board. Will the current state's attorney be able to give recommendations on more than one person able to do the audit rather than who we're currently using? Will there be some kind of conflict of interest to use the same person that we're using now that our audits are so far behind with? Are they going to have the time to get another audit done for our county when they're working on 22, 23? Would it be, better to find another firm to come in and do the audit? So I'm just wondering, can she legally give recommendations like, I think we should find somebody else, even if she doesn't give out names? She may be able to say, that auditor's already so deep in with our county and hasn't been able to provide us nothing yet, but keeps saying they're gonna have 2 drafts, and we've gotten nowhere with the last 2 years of audit. So my question was, when whoever's on the legislative committee, maybe asked Ruth's opinion on if she's able to even give an opinion on that. I don't know legally wise where that stands, but I would definitely, you have a great state's attorney in office now, use her resources. Ask her questions. I thank you for coming tonight, Ruth. You brought up a lot of good points. And I thank your people here and a lot of your board appreciate you being here and able to answer the questions. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, public body comment. Public body comment?
I have a question on the severance pay. Can you elaborate on why that wasn't brought to the county board to approve? Did you know before the check was written that it was going to be written, Ms. Norman?
Yes.
You did? Did you tell her to write the check?
No, I didn't tell her.
You didn't tell her to write the check? But she did tell you about the check? Was she asking you, do you think, well, what was the conversation? Was she asking you if you thought she should write the check? Or was there a conversation between you and Ms. Fernhofer about that? Did you just call up and say, hey, I'm going to write a $74,000 check? How did that conversation go?
You're asking a question for me to recall. I'm not going to recall, because if I did, I'd tell you wrong.
Okay, then I'll move on to my next question. Can anybody tell me about the other employee for the state's attorney's office that was making $12,500, which for 3 weeks figures out to about $105 an hour? So can anybody tell me what days of the week this person was working, what hours she worked? Because there's no time, there's nothing that I can find employee for timesheets, anything. So does anybody know what she was doing?
What time frame was she working?
What's that?
What time frame was she working?
The last 3 weeks. She was paid for 3 weeks, so she would have been working. Well, her last day was May 10th because the check got wrote out to her on May 10th and it got wrote out to, I believe, Miss Ambrosiak on May 10th. So 3 weeks prior to that. And nobody could tell me anything about that. But both checks were written out on the same day out of the state's attorney's office budget. Does that concern any of our board members at all?
Certainly. Do any of you others know this?
Because I hear a lot of times oversight. Here's something that should be really being looked at, but nobody seems interested. Why is that? You know, I sat in a committee meeting.
We received an email, I didn't check my emails the whole time I was gone, but recently from Ms. Willery that she's going to look into it and then pursue or not pursue whatever, if there's a legal action she could take. So
it is
right
being
now,
looked at.
it's kind of under the direction of the state's attorney where that follows.
Okay, so.
I mean,
it is-
I'm not an attorney, I don't know the legality of things.
I understand, but it is being looked, that's why I'm asking questions. It is going to be looked at, that's what you're telling me legally.
I believe that
Ms.
Ms. Wooler is looking into it.
Situation, because I think that the taxpayers really want to know, because my question, how could there be a contract entered into with him and her, because she is employed by us, the county?
No, she's not.
So there was no contract, written
She's
contract.
employed by the state's attorney's office, which is a state office.
I can't hear you.
She's employed by the state's attorney's office, which is a state office.
So is she not a county employee?
And through the county, we set the budget from the county for that position. The state's attorney's line item comes out of the state, that's 75%, 25% county. But her employer, the state's attorney, is a state office, not a county office, as perceived. Her direct supervisor is the AG.
I have questions on that still, and I don't think you answered them, but that's okay, because I will find the answers out. So my other question then, and I hope you, when you were replying, and Julie was replying, remove that from my time. But my other question is, so is all of that under review, the $12,500 and the $74,000 payout? And the IMRF hours for tracking? Because there are no hours turned in to our treasurer's office for tracking the IMRF. Okay. I think that'll give people peace of mind to know it's under review, so thank you. And thank you for coming tonight and working for the people. That is appreciated.
Okay. Public comment. Yes.
I'll add on what Tricia said. Those checks that were paid out, I think we all know that there's the smell of impropriety there. I think we all know that in dollars and cents that's tax dollars, and that it was written in potentially, it's perceived as being a very nefarious incident. We have a right to know that things are going through our board, that our board chair is not neglecting to share with the rest of the board members here, things of that nature. It's your job to make sure that our monies are being handled appropriately. I don't think it would be, I wouldn't be a prudent person in a business if I were just to write roughly $100,000 worth of checks just because, with no approval. On a separate note, we keep having these discussions about interest rates and investments and stuff, and I have delved into quite a bit of that recently. I'm no accountant. I've had accounting. I've done some bookwork before. Just some incidental findings. Typically, an ending balance for, let's say, March, the last day of March, that balance will match the first day of April. Never does. Typically, I shouldn't say never, the greater majority does. And one account not matching, having an ending balance and a beginning balance the same is enough to be a problem. And I'm not talking about a miskey. I'm talking about lots of money. Then when you look at bank accounts, and you look at, for instance, I looked at 5 accounts today. One of them, the bank had $34,924 as an ending balance for April of this year. And our balance here in the treasurer's office was $27,000. The second one I looked at, the bank had $997 as an ending balance for the month. The treasurer had it a little over $8,100. There was one that was exactly the same. There was one that was off about $350. The bank had $350 more. The last one was kind of alarming. It was a general claims, account number 1328, and the bank's balance was $94,146. Our balance was $92,37. That's a difference of $89,996. I have requested in, I think, 5 emails in the last 3 or 4 days, several, and I try to be very specific because I'm not a game player. I wanted to know I want it to be organized by fund, so 001 clear on up to the 062 accounts. For the ease of the reader, you could just go right through and she could spin them out at me. I asked for the actual, the entire statement issued from the bank. Didn't get that. I didn't get all the accounts. And then I compared the account balances at the bank to, and these were April, when you compare those account balances to the report that she gives to our board members, and I will be a board member, they don't match. They don't match. And it's not a miscue of like $2. It's not even the same cents. It's off by a ton. One of them, and I don't know how I'm not an accountant, I said that, but I can add. And one of the accounts, the balance of the bank was $307,000, and here within the office, we had less than 30. I don't know how that's happening. I would think if we had a good check and balance system, we would catch these errors. That may be why we're having problems with our audit. I don't know. I would like to know why it's that way. And in defense of Erica, if, we all know that software does its job, that you have to do your due diligence to upgrade. That's why we always have updates on our computer from Microsoft. And every time we turn on it, bellers at us to upgrade it. If she's in a position where her software is really poor, then we need to assist her with that. She needs to come in and say, look, my software sucks, doesn't do what it should do, it's completely ridiculous. But when I ask for an accounting of every bank account that we have, and I get back part of them, or I get back a report that differs 3 different ways, 3 different times, just to be difficult, it gets a little annoying, and it makes me want to dig harder. I don't know whether the software is just that bad or what, but it needs to be dealt with. And as of today, as of the 4/30/24, the balances that we have is $20,610,164.64. So $20 million, almost just at $20.6 million. We currently have 6.9 invested in CDs and through the state, and those CDs average from
Yeah, so let me just address some of the things you've mentioned in your times. But as far as the $20 million in the account, in the accounts, that $20 million is not what the county board has budgeted for the county. That includes all the other accounts, all the funds, the township funds, fire district funds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the abbreviated number that is invested is just a portion of what is not budgeted for all of those funds.
That's what it boils down to.
You can't invest funds in a CD if they're budgeted. And I appreciate your interaction.
Never change.
Not talking to you.
But you're talking over me.
Can I add?
So let me go back to the account ending balances, and this is where I don't know, if I'm going to make an analogy that I do know, and that is, if you look at a bank statement and your check ledger, if you don't know if all the banks or the checks are cleared, perhaps, then there's going to be discrepancies, and that's understandable. What you're describing, I can't explain. Other than that.
It'd be nice to see, my point was it'd be nice to see, instead of 6.9 million invested at, 4 to 5%, which is going great. A lot of those were more recent investments. But it would be nice to see that Illinois phone brought in, because I think today the rate was 5.442. It's immediately accessible to us all the time. We're missing out on 4.5% on a lot of these accounts.
Like I said, you can't put them in an investment if they're budgeted. So a lot of those funds are budgeted, so you can't invest them because they're going to be tied up in the CD.
They're immediately
That's
available
why-
in the iPhones.
They're immediately
They're immediately
available.
available. The minute you deposit them, you can get them right
That's
back.
fine. You want to go? Public comment?
Sure.
Fire away.
I'm not going to talk about that. I was just curious about the MOU because we were told last year you had to pull this money for a couple different reasons. One reason was because we were going to become insolvent, and then another reason was because of the ARPA funds. I mean, I think ARPA funds were paying other, at least bonuses. I'm not sure if they were paying other salaries or not, or other wages or not. How did we arrive? Why did we pull that pay? And then now we give it back. What changed? I mean, why couldn't we have done that immediately? If we could pay these folks now, why did we lose deputies pulling their pay? Why did we lose employees pulling their pay? And this also starts, if I understand it correctly, the floor for negotiations now start at their pay, where it's going to be now, right? With the $6. Correct. And it should. I think they're underpaid anyway, if we look at our peer counties. But I'm just curious, why was there this massive gap in paying these folks? And why did we put them through this if we could always pay them? What was the point of that exercise? Why did we jerk pay from them? Cut their pay by what? Close to, what would that be? About $1,000 a month, right? I mean, I know they're going to get their back pay, is that correct, Sheriff? Right, which is good, they should. But why did we do that? What was the purpose? If we pay now, why couldn't we pay it then?
That is sunset.
What?
The MOU back in 2022 had a sunset, and the sunset was executed by the president.
Okay, then why weren't we prepared for that? Why did we jerk it without any notice for them? And then why didn't we make sure that they got paid continuously and we didn't lose employees? We didn't lose deputies. We didn't make our community less safe. Because you guys already appointed an attorney that made our community far less safe and wrote $86,000 or approved $86,000 worth of checks to people on the way out the door. And we also jerked pay away from deputies for months at a time that we didn't have to. Why did we do that? What was the point? If we knew that was going to sunset, then that's a fine argument. If we take you seriously, that's fine. We'll say that's the case. Why weren't we prepared when that came up to make sure that we were paying these people to keep us safe?
You have 2 minutes left if you want to please.
No, I think I've done what I'm supposed to do.
Go ahead, Carol.
You said something a while ago that disturbed me. You knew about the $74,000 check. I didn't know about it. Did all the other board members know about this $74,000 check before it happened?
All I'm going to say about it is it's better to do it this way than it was the other way. And the other way was a lawsuit that would be $150,000, and that would be far worse.
I don't believe that one.
So he threatened us.
It was a threat, and if
So
you,
I will-
I have the floor.
Let her finish.
I have my 5 minutes. So, if other board members knew about this check that was issued on the 10th, according to the FOIAs that I got, you knew about this the last board meeting and did not tell, I don't know, did any of you know about it?
Not until the email came.
What email?
That comes through Jessica, through the normal
The
channel.
email
The same one you got.
The one last month that said we're paying this $74,000
No,
check? Okay, no, last month, before the board meeting. So I talked to one board member, he knew about it because he talked to you. Did any of you other board members know about this check before?
How about a show of hands?
But if you knew, what I'm saying is, it disturbs me that you knew about it and you did not contact the other board members, that we could have discussed this at the last board meeting.
Well, let me pause you. What exactly would you have done with that?
I wouldn't have paid it.
It's a payroll.
No, I would not. I would have voted on it and not paid it. So you all feel like that it was something that needed to be paid?
From the finance committee, did they go through the last month's finance?
No.
Go through this
She would have
first.
done the right thing, which is question it.
After it's
That's
okay.
your job.
I would have questioned it, and I also would have questioned the $12,500 that this person was hired on 4/17 and got a check on 5/10. Nobody knew her. The sheriff knew, he saw her one day.
And even if it were legitimate, which I'm not debating tonight whether or not it was, but even if it were, it should have gone to the full board for a vote.
Correct.
Well, it did, it went tonight.
No,
Yeah, before the
but
last.
we did not have a choice, and we should have had that choice. We spent 30 minutes one night at a public safety meeting arguing about a $50 bill for the dog catcher.
Yeah.
And Sonny's, and it was $50, and I said, well, just pay the $50. And Sonny said, well, let's everybody get $50.
Let's everybody get 74.
I mean, let's everybody get 74,000. I mean, to me, that is very disturbing that we were not given that chance, at least. We're 21 people that are supposed to be together to working for the taxpayers, not working for any one person. To me, that's not looking out for the taxpayers. And actually, it costs the taxpayers a lot more money because we pay Social Security and Medicare on that, on both of them, and it ended up costing us $93,149, and that's taxpayer money. Now, I don't know if the county has to pay part of the IMRF. I don't know about that part, but I do know about Social Security and Medicare. So it wasn't just $74,000 and $12,500, it was $93,000 of taxpayer money, and I'm mad about it.
Yeah. We all are.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to remind everybody that when Nicole Cronky left office.
One person has the floor, we were all quiet for Carol to speak. I expect the same respect for all members. Anyway.
She paid out every single one of her employees, and they all were done in January of, what was it, 2022, 2023, 2023? All done in January, but she made the choice to pay them a full year's worth of vacation time. Every single one of them got a full year's worth of vacation time, not yet earned. That did not come to this board for a vote. We had no say-so in that. So the hypocrisy of when it should come to the board and when it shouldn't come to the board and what we should approve and what we're okay with not approving, having to do with whether or not individual people like who's sitting in that office is very disturbing to me, Carol. Thank you.
Public body comment?
Teresa has her.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah.
I got something.
Teresa did too.
It's okay. It's okay.
You said something a while ago that if we didn't pay the 74,000, it'd be a lot different. It would have been worse. What are you talking about there?
All I know is it's better to do the way it's done than it would be the alternative.
It's in the
If
second.
she wants to look into that, that's more power to her.
Well, I think it all ought to be looked into. For somebody to get $75,000 to walk out of here, I mean, right, wrong, or indifferent, that, I don't care who got paid what, when, where, or whatever, but $75,000, and from what I understand, I was only in here a couple times, but I've never seen a whole lot going on in the state's attorney's office. And
Someday they were closed.
hey, I got the floor, okay? And I wouldn't know this lady from nothing, never, I mean, just through emails that I even knew that she was involved in this. And then to get $75,000, I mean, I think it ought to be looked into. For somebody to get a whole bunch of our taxpayer money that didn't do a whole lot of work, at $75,000, you should have been here working every day for a whole year, as far as I'm concerned.
So,
but, yeah,
real quick to that point.
They
are salaried for one. They do work around the clock. I don't know if you do that part or not. They are on call around the clock. So if she gets a call at 10 o'clock at night for charging authority for some arrests today or whatever, she has to take care of that right then and there. or the office. So,
But
if she's not available, her assistant needs to take care of it. That's how that works. That's not this point of discussion. What I'm saying is, to objectively say that the SA or the ASA not being in their office is a determination of not working is a complete falsehood.
Okay, I agree with that. But to get $75,000 for no more time than she was here, I mean, I get what you're saying would have been I'm taking it that you're saying there would have been a lawsuit. You don't have to answer that, but I'm going to suggest that you're saying there would have been a lawsuit that would have cost us more than that. Maybe it would have, and maybe it wouldn't have. What I'm saying is, I think you need to look into it. If we need to do an audit or whatever we need to do to find out why all this money's going out, we need to find that out. Whether she deserved that, whether she deserved it or not, legally entitled to it, then she's legally entitled to it. But it just seems like a lot of money, taxpayer money, went out really quick. And I got your on-call. I'd like to know how much on-callness she did, or work she did.
That is what I was driving at. That is the nature of the office. However,
I got that.
Their legal work, whether it's done in the office or at home or a combination of two, as long as the work is done in accordance to the requirements of the department head. So if the state's attorney is approving of the work and quality of work, and it's all done from remote, that's their prerogative.
I got that, but okay, then there should be billing hours. And there better be a whole bunch of hours or something for $75,000.
It should be tracked, but they work.
So, like I said, I don't know the details. All I know is one way or the work together. We're public body comment, Carol, Teresa.
Yeah. I want everybody that's sitting in this room to know that the 22 taxes for the farm have been paid by a very generous person. Now, I hope that when we plant the plants and we harvest and we get some money, we won't have the hassle of trying to figure out how to pay the taxes. Because I don't know if this generous person is going to cough up another year of taxes, but you had one person that doesn't even live in Shelby County pay the taxes for 22.
Public body comment, sir.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm glad to see us a little more quiet than the last time I came here. It seems to be a lot better. I even think Sonny's done a good job tonight. I'm glad to see Miss Edwards show up tonight. I guess one of my questions tonight is the fact that, okay, like when we have like Julie ask a question, and she was asking a question about something, and she said that her and Jeremy had discussed it, and they had like some questions about it, but then when it came to vote, everybody voted yes except for Jeremy and Martha. And I'm really curious about that, because if this was a discussion that was between Jeremy and Julie, then I don't understand why Julie, everybody agreed with what Julie was saying, except for Jeremy and Martha, and the whole discussion was supposed to be between Jeremy and Julie to begin with. So I'm trying to figure out why Jeremy voted the opposite of Julie if they both had the same discussion.
So
I can answer that for you.
Go ahead.
I discussed this, on the committee, we're on the legislative committee together.
Okay.
And this timekeeping policy has been an ongoing thing for a while. And just because I voted a certain way doesn't mean Jeremy or Martha or whatever are wrong. It's just our thoughts on this issue. And in my opinion, before we pass a policy that is hopefully set, all the ducks should be in a row. We shouldn't pass it and then revise it or make amendments to it later on, unless we have to. And I just had some concerns about passing. That's why I voted to table it. doesn't mean that Jeremy or Martha voted in opposition to me.
No, they all
It's
voted in
just
opposition to everybody
They
else.
have their own opinion, no, they have their own opinion on
Sure they do.
this, which they're entitled to do.
Sure they are.
So, I mean, it's not I don't take it personally that they
No,
voted
you
against
shouldn't,
me.
you shouldn't.
But
I
that's.
guess my question more for Jeremy is why he voted no.
Yeah, I don't mind if you're all right, Mr. Chairman.
No, I do mind. So I'm gonna put a real quick cap on this.
That's right.
I want to see that timekeeping policy passed. But I can tell by the temperature of the room, there's no sense in even arguing about it. So let's just table it for another month. I will tell you that as long as we don't have a timekeeping policy in place, we are continuing the risk and liability revolving door in this county of Salem. And just because we are, the nuts and bolts aren't quite tweaked out the way they need to be, doesn't mean that the big highlight points that are going to start solidifying policy and procedure, especially procedure and payroll, those need to happen yesterday.
Okay, I have a question about salary.
Go
Since
ahead.
most of the jobs I've always had have been salary, I've never had a job where I left it and then got paid for the rest of the year. I was salaried at County Market, I was salaried at Mono, I've been salaried about everywhere I've worked at. So I'm trying to figure out how this salary works differently than every other salary in business. Because I'm telling you, this salary is totally opposite of everything I've ever done or been a part of. So I don't understand how you don't, once you quit, fired, whatever it is, you don't get paid anymore. I mean, if you have vacation hours, maybe you get paid for that. And with what Martha said, is I also agree with her on the fact that, yeah, this probably goes back to Nicole Cronky, maybe getting paid when they shouldn't have got paid either. So I think Martha brought a good point on that maybe this thing doesn't just happen this time, but maybe it actually happened the time before as well. And I think also, I think it's a little bad that we're talking a lot about Erica tonight because she's not there to defend herself. I really honestly think that if somebody just went to Erica and talked to her and asked her to show stuff, I think she would do it. I really do. I really think she would show it. And I know there's a lot of discussion on that, and like I said, Martha and Erica are my friends. I've said it over and over again. But even like the deal tonight where Stu says he's willing to do everything for free, basically, between him and whoever else was going to help pay for things. And this is another thing. Everybody in the room agreed on the vote, except for Martha. I don't understand, Martha, why you would still vote no when everything's going to be free. I don't understand why you do that, other than to be hateful. I really don't get it, but everybody, I mean, I'm talking about people that are on your side, not on your side, whatever. And like they said, everybody has the right to vote the way they want. I get that. And maybe you didn't want to be unanimous and just voted no or whatever. But I just think that, it looked kind of petty for you to vote that way. It's another thing I'm disappointed about, okay? And I also think that if we're going to have board members that are leaving in November, and all they're going to do is try to sabotage everything that we're trying to accomplish between now and then, they ought to just go ahead and resign like the state's attorney did.
Yes.
Your questions about the severance package?
Yeah.
Hopefully in the next 30, 60, 90 days, the state attorney will have some sort of explanation of what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Other than that, that's just.
Hey, I think you've done a good job tonight too.
That's just hopeful on my part. So, public comment.
Yeah, Bobby, I was been in the courthouse day after day after day. I don't know how many times I've been in there. You could ask Debbie. I was pretty well aware that a lot of weeks, 2 days of the week, the state's attorney's office was closed. They know, the people in the courthouse know what went on. I know what went on. The deputies know what went on. We paid 4 people and the door was locked. There was no light on. A lot of times 2 days ago. So we're paying 4 attorneys, and you're hesitating to pay for 2 now. And we paid for 4 that some days they weren't even there at all. I know what went on. I've been in here dozens of days. Of course I know what went on, because I was concerned about what was going on, because I didn't think it was being taken care of properly. It's one of the most poorly managed government offices I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was horrible. And then when they did have an attorney here and they were in court, the door was locked. There was no phone number on the door. There was no contact. What happened was no one really cared. They wanted to get through till Friday and obtain a check the easiest way possible, and that's exactly what they did. They didn't want to prosecute anyone. They wanted to give them, they wanted to make some kind of agreement so they could release them. They didn't prosecute anyone hardly at all. I know of. I mean, you could think up one if you want to, but you could ask Debbie, or you could go through the courthouse and ask the people that work there.
Nobody comment? Sorry?
At the last meeting, I was talking about how, the farm thing's over anyway, but at the end, you said it's a luxury to be on here, that's why you could make the decisions that you could make. It's not a luxury. It's not a luxury. There is no I in teamwork. I used to tell my employees that. There is not an I in teamwork. You are a team. You are for us. Our money is getting spent stupidly, and there's no I in teamwork, is all I got to say. You people need to work together more. It's just not right. It's not right for us. And with you here tonight, I thought the meeting went great. Thank you very much.
Public comment?
Yes. 2 points to bring up. Sorry. When Nicole left, she did pay out stuff, but there's a difference between severance pay and vacation pay. And when I FOIA'd it, it was vacation pay that she paid her employees out.
Tracked. All of it tracked.
Yeah. And another thing with the $74,000, Tricia FOIA'd Hanlon prior to his departure. And his response is, I have no response documents that exist for her employments. No, contract. No termination letters were sent to Ms. Ambrosiak. Rather, we are finalizing a severance agreement. And then he's got in parentheses, and yes, I'm sure it will blow your mind. So then she does a little more digging, and her contract was dated April 26th. And this was May 1st.
So he wasn't honest.
So he wasn't honest. Hanlon raped this county, and you guys let him have it.
Laugh about it.
Nobody comment? Go ahead.
Well, a couple things. I'd just like to know if it was, he terminated her contract, but she was on IMLF or whatever. FMLA, whatever the hell it is. She was on something, maybe more something, I don't know. But terminated her contract and she was on medical leave.
I don't have any documents about it.
You know, I mean, can you actually do that? I guess is what I'm asking. And then the next thing was, you said up there, you said that the state's attorney works 24 hours a day, around the clock, whatever. I don't know, I can't reverberate the amount of people, because I don't know off the top of my head, but he turned people loose because he couldn't even make a probable cause hearing. I mean, he just set people free because he didn't have the time to show up, period, flat out. So, I mean, if you want to sit here and say you work 24/7, I think you're full of shit.
So what happens on a Saturday night at 10 p.m. when there's a deputy that has a person?
I'm not talking about her. Yeah, we're not talking about her. We're talking about him.
No, I'm talking about the office.
Yeah.
The office.
That's right. He
The
is
requirements of the office. I'm not talking about person. See, this is where we all get off in the weeds. I'm gonna pause.
No, you're getting us off in the weeds.
No, I'm gonna take it down to
We're not
fact.
taking more cases, we'll keep
When there is policy and procedure dictated over a person versus an office, is where we start getting in trouble. And I see this way too often. And now I've seen it way too much. But back to my question: does the officer get a call around the clock at any given point in time when the deputies are on duty, they're doing their job, they have whatever situation that he's charging, whatever, You still get a call whatever time of night it is. It doesn't mean-
Whole point,
whether they're
right over your
in the
head,
office or
Bob.
not.
No, I know. Regardless of where I am, including a St. Louis Cardinals game, I have had to answer my phone and get warrants.
Yep.
Now, the fact that I have done that does not mean that my predecessor did. And I can't speak to that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm saying the office. Anyhow, you still have a few minutes.
No, I'm good.
Public body comment. Public body comment. Public body comment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I got one.
Oh, sorry. Kurt.
While we're looking into all the finances you want to look into, there's two very important things that nobody said a word about tonight. Any clue?
Out of here. See you, bud.
The deputies are owed over $300,000 according to a forensic audit. Not one word about getting those deputies paid. The taxpayers are owed over $300,000. Not one word about $300,000 getting paid back to taxpayers. That forensic audit was done under Nicole Cronke's tenure. How come that has never been addressed? That is a much bigger apple in here than the oranges. The oranges need peeled too. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I think that Mr. Kirk Allen should be going back to Edgar County and keeping his nose in their business instead of Shelby County's. And that's all I've got to say.
Closer every day.
Public body comment. Yes.
Maybe we should all go to the Edgar County board meeting.
Fire department.
Y'all realize you don't have anything to do with Edgar County board meetings, right?
Hell, you ain't got time, he's here.
Okay. Public body comment. Ma'am, you have the floor.
One day a month.
Ma'am, are you finished? Okay.
Oh, I'm driving to Paris, so, ain't it?
I don't live in Paris.
Oh, you don't live in Paris?
Public body comment. Public body comment. Third time. Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Clay, seconded by Heath. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say aye. Thank you.